What is up, guys? I was like so in the middle, like, do I want to make a fucking video? I'm just kind of in my feels. And I started watching Small Brain American a little bit, kind of like amped me up a little bit, feel a little bit more excited for life. Trying to balance out family and the things I care about with the other things that I enjoy. And then it kind of hits me. I had a good day at the gym and I got some good food in beforehand. But now I've been having just fucking was like, I took a few days. Oh, let me not lie. I took a day off of drinking. I hate that. I don't want to sound like that. I just, sometimes I take a few days off. Sometimes I don't like to call it a binger, and then sometimes I'm just having a good time. But, at the end of the day, I feel like when my mind's sharp and I'm talking to myself, sometimes I'm figuring my shit out. Here I am, and I figured, fuck it, man, because I got a pack of, I stay smoking American Spirits, but I have a pack of American Spirits Light Blue. I was at the store, and I was sitting here like, damn, I wish I just got it hits different. It hits different. Like, I've been rolling them up. And it just hits different. The American Spirit pouch tobacco compare. I mean, like, even if you like put it out on paper, you'll see it like looks different. It's not as like wiry as like pouch tobacco. It's all like fluffed in together and then you wire it out. This one is kind of different, but I figured, since I'm already here and doing it, I might as well smoke up this. And I will say, like, yeah, I think I like pouch tobacco better. I feel like it's more down to earth. But this is cool, and it is what it is. Tomorrow, I think I got work tomorrow. I'm gonna go to the gym, and I'm just gonna chill out and relax. Cause Sunday, hopefully I get some tips because I'm like bottom line broke right now because I was being an idiot with my money, and then I gotta pay my rent. But I was being an idiot. But this is why I don't like having money on my card because I tend to spend it a lot faster. So if I have cash money, then I'm just like, oh, it's I don't go through it so fucking fast because I'm not gonna buy something on Temu or some bullshit. I fucking hate Temu, but I like it. I got cheap clothes or a video game. I only bought one video game. I got Yakuza Like a Freaking Dragon, which is great. I like Yakuza, the Yakuza games. They're freaking awesome, and they're not what you'd expect. It's not. It's like being in the Yakuza, but like not really. Like you're fighting other Yakuza members, all this shit. But yeah, so I think what I'm gonna do is because I lost my ID. So what I was doing, I gotta open up a bank account. Like I need to open up a bank account. But I was going up to the store where you show them your ID, and then they'll give you cash back. And I feel like it's a lot easier to like keep track of your money when you had cash for some reason. It's like you see it in front of you. Like a lot of times I don't want to look at my bank account. I'm looking for my lighter. Bam! On my bank account and see how much I have, you know what I mean? It's kind of dumb. I should be doing that more. And you got to give yourself a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of fear, like a little bit of fire in your ass where you're like, oh shit, dude, I gotta be careful with my money, right now. But it's all good. I'm gonna fucking start just pulling out my cash for the most part. Probably leave maybe like $50 on my card just in case I want to buy a video game, maybe a nice piece of clothing from Temu. But besides that, with like when you have cash money, you're not doing any online shopping. You're not gonna, be as thrilled to be like, all right, I'm gonna go to Walmart right now and maybe get a new shirt. Like it's more natural, I feel like. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. But here, I'm gonna light this bad boy. So one thing I'll say for myself personally, when it comes to the fucking this type of stuff, I don't get as hard as a pull as I do when I roll it. Because when I roll it, I don't use a filter or anything like that. And somebody from Ireland, if you're watching this, props out to you, brother. He was just like, is it not normal to like roll over in America? Because it is over in Ireland, and it also is in Europe too. A lot of times, like that's where I really was like into the niche of like rolling up my tobacco. But yeah, no, it's not as a big thing. Let me get closer to the camera. It's not as a big thing as much over here. A lot of people usually just buy it. It's very rare. I don't see a lot of people just rolling their tobacco a lot of times. The friends I hang out with, they roll their tobacco. Just because we're cool and cultured, you know. So cool. We're cooler than cool. But I'm gonna put on my hoodie, man. It's getting freaking cold, man. It's like it was warmer yesterday. The weather here is incredibly bipolar. It looks like it's gonna be pretty cold this next few weeks, but the way I see it is summer's coming around the corner again. It'll be back and then it'll be fucking hot as balls. We'll be at the dam. And I do want to make videos where I'll have a tripod and stuff like that because a lot of times I like to go down to this dam. A lot of people swim there. But I'm looking good, I'm looking hot, I'm looking sexy. And I go to the dam and I'll sit there, I'll get a lawn chair, and I'll sit in the lawn chair, have some beers, have my water, maybe some orange juice, some of my tobacco, some brewskis, and fucking sit and chill and enjoy the sun on my face. Which is great. But for now, I wanted to make a video. I went to the gym early today. I had a good workout. I came back and was like, dude, I need to make a smoothie. Because I feel like smoothies are like potions. Like, depending on what you put in it, I put bananas, blueberries, and I got ginger. I got like a whole little thing of ginger. Just chopped it all up, put it in there. I got like 4 carrots, like the long carrots, not like the baby carrots, but the long carrots. They're like medium long. Everybody took all the big long ones out, but I like got 4 or 5 of those, cut them all up, put them in, garlic, just all this stuff that's really good for like blood flow, vitamins, nutrition. I'm not like a super like protein guy. You gotta have your protein, but I think a nice heavy meal, depending on what it is that you're eating, is also good for muscle development. But in terms of mood and feeling good and your body just kind of clicking and clacking, I think it's really important to get a good set of nutrition in to keep you sharp, to keep you healthy, to keep you feeling good. So garlic, and then I put in a bunch of cayenne pepper. I have maca powder, which is good for your libido and sexual clarity and all that type of stuff. And what else? And some turmeric. Yeah, and I fucking just boom made a potion. Had a few drinks. I was sweating after that, but it was good shit. I needed it highly. And I think at the end of the day too, when it comes to family and all this type of stuff, like when you're super excited, it might not be, and you got all these goals, it might be hard to relate and stay grounded in certain areas where you can call up your dad, you can call up your mom without sounding like a total crazy motherfucker and overly excited where you can't even really relate to them. Um, Trying to find that balance can be a pain in the ass sometimes, but I do think it's also important too. You're not always going to be like a happy, excited, jovial mood all the time. And that's life. I was talking to my friend's mom, and she's very like very loving to her son and stuff like that. Whatever that is, she cares a lot. And she's just like loving the suffering, and it is like there's gonna be things your mom says, your brother says, me and my brother get along pretty well, but your dad says it just pisses you off. You just don't want to talk to them, man. But one day they're not gonna be here, and I think when we really sit with it, when I sit with it, I'm like, fuck, dude, like I got to spend this time with them as much as I can, but also at the same time, it's just like doing things for yourself as well um, is important, man. I think there's it's good to be excited and have excitement in your life, but I don't think you want your excitement to drag you along all the time. You need to have some, or at least I know I do, but I would say that most people need to have a sense of kind of coming inwards and grounding yourself and being like, okay, let me relax, let me make sure I'm taking care of my due diligence, my structure, all that good stuff. But I always find too when I like relax super hard and I get into my feels and stuff like that, I always have a bounce back. But I think it's good. You got to like kind of go over here and then go over there, and then you kind of have like a balance. Like when I go over here too much, then it kind of busts me out. But I have like more of a balance mentally and emotionally in my life. I think finding that's important. Like I don't even want to go out. A part of me wants to go out, but I'm like thinking of my money situation. So I was saying, this Sunday, me and the homies we're gonna fucking. I'm planning a movie night, but like if I go out, I have like no money to my name right now, which is usually not the case, but sometimes I like it. You know, it kind of puts your priorities in place where you're like, okay, I got to take care of this. I got to make sure this is taken care of. But maybe I'll make some tips for my job. We'll see what happens. I think I can make it work um, through the power of belief. I don't even know the power of belief. Just just taking a shot, taking some action. But we plan on we're gonna watch this movie in the theaters. You know, like fucking people when they used to go to the theaters. We're gonna go to the theater, and it's a movie from the late '80s called Hard Boiled with Chow Yun Fat. Dope ass movie. A lot of cool smoking scenes. Cop, undercover cop type of shit. But we're all gonna get together, have some brewskis beforehand, and then go up there. And I was like, let's all dress up like really well, like we're like in the yakuza, because you got these things that excite you, and you want to emulate that. And I think it's cool to a degree, as long as so slight delusion is all right. Slight, like, yeah, let's look cool, let's have fun, not like always be nihilistic, like what does it matter, who cares about this, that, and third. Like some things, it's like who cares, but other things, I think it's good to play and good to pretend. And I watched a good quote from this guy called Brad Castleberry. He's still a lifter. He's not as big now, but he was getting a lot of flack because a lot of people said he was using fake weights. Whether he did or didn't, I don't fucking know, dude. I have no fucking clue. But he was being interviewed, and he was just like, either way, he's jacked and stacked. He's got a great physique. But he was being interviewed, and in the interview, he's like, I think it's a normal thing, and I'm butchering what he said, but basically what he said, he's like, it's a normal thing to like emulate or emulate somebody's character a little bit until you get to the place where you want to be, because it can take you to where you want to be as a person, and then being able to integrate that into your family life, your friend life, and all that type of stuff. He didn't say that part, but I'm like, yes, totally. I have certain video games, like I keep bringing up Yakuza because I'm playing it right now, where I love the main character's integrity, his ability to like be there for his friends, how much he cares and stuff like that. And emulating that, I think, is good because you're taking on these emotions. You know what I mean? And I think it's good to take on those emotions and do that, and it get you to a place where you want to be as a person. You know what I mean? Maybe you need to take on some badass energy. You want to start attracting more women. Maybe you got to take on a sort of player mindset, or certain guys that are really good at picking up women and all this type of stuff. And then you can integrate that, because you don't want to be like a total piece of shit that is like totally cold, because like we care at the end of the day, we give a fuck. Like one of my buddies, he posted, I'll call him a buddy, there's levels to it, right? You got acquaintance, you got buddy, you got friends, and then you got best friends. Call him a buddy, and he was like, oh man, it's like 19 degrees right now. It's probably even colder than that. But he posted up a post like, "Am I doing this because I really want this, or am I doing this because I want to be seen?" And if 10 years ago, I probably, even 5 years ago, 3 years ago, I probably would have been like, yeah, I feel that, yeah. But now it's just like, it's totally normal to me to want to be seen. I think it's a total normal thing. I think it's good to go out and be seen, to look good, dress up well, and look fucking good. And be seen, and, have a smile, and, rock yourself, like, because normal, like, because I feel like you got to remember, like, when we were kids, we wanted to be seen, and then maybe something happened, and then we became really jaded. And I think, there's certain levels to all this stuff, but then we became super jaded, and then, we just fucking put up a huge wall. And I think there's time and a place for walls, 100%, but, it's normal to want to be seen, like this human experience. I saw another meme, too, where you got, this dude named Ziz. He was like super big, the aesthetic scene back in the day where everybody was like chiseled. It wasn't really about lifting heavy, it was just about looking really good. And then you got this new guy now named like Calvicular, which they're like around the same age. And the meme was basically like, Ziz was like, we're all gonna make it, bra, and then Calvicular was like, it's over. Like I'm butchering the quote, but like, it's over. And like really nihilistic attitude is over, none of it matters. And that type of attitude is just so bullshit and like psychotic, bro, because it's just like you become this cold dude and like I can't really watch Clavicular stuff. Like he's a young dude and he just like to me is just dumb, you know. Sorry if you're watching this stuff because I know I have millions of views, but to me it's just like it's not just about that. It's about having heart as well, and like sometimes you're gonna get hurt emotionally, and sometimes you gotta open yourself up to really feel the joy of life, and like when you're cutting yourself off from that, you know, we got this one life to live, and it's just like you're gonna be like that. You know what I mean? You're gonna be nihilistic like that. You're gonna black pill like that, like all this type of stuff. You got black pill, red pill. Take the white pill, as Sam Hyde says. Follow God, follow a higher spirit, which wants you to hang out with people, wants you to have time with yourself, I think, but then wants you to be able to connect with people and all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? It's just like this totally where they take American Psycho with Christian Bale, they take it like super seriously, where that character's supposed to be like satirical, man. It's like you don't want to emulate that. Maybe the fitness and all that, but you don't want to emulate that. It's just pure coldness like a reptile. Like, dude, what the fuck, bro? So it's like really important. Like, who are you getting influenced by when you're watching YouTube and all this type of stuff? You know, like back in the day, you know, like we just had like cable television, but there was more of a balance. Now we can get really glued into our phones and glued into certain topics. You can choose whatever music you want to listen to, whatever you're going to watch, who you're going to be inspired by constantly. Back then, you didn't really get to choose that. You'd have to go to a CD store. You'd have to go out in public. You'd have to do things. You'd have to talk to people. You know, you'd have to go to a CD store to get a certain album for a certain fucking band you like. You have to, you know, when you're watching the TV, it'd be like, yeah, maybe this one person will come on once in a while and they might resonate with you, but then you have all this time in between that to. I'll light another motherfucker up. You have all this time in between that to kind of contemplate and integrate that. But if you're always constantly consumed by that kind of stuff, then it's gonna do a number on you, brother. You're basically being hypnotized at that point, you know. It's that's why I like watching a movie in the theaters too, because you know back in the day you go watch a movie, and after that you leave the movie and you're like thinking about that movie or a certain anime back in the day. You're thinking about that anime. I remember I'd be like thinking about a movie or an anime for like 2 weeks, maybe a month. You know what I mean? I was thinking about it, but now it's like you're done with the movie and it's just like, oh, it's a good movie. You're like in your house. Okay, on to the next one. On to the next thing I want to watch. On to the next. It's time to start scrolling and being influenced by a whole bunch of other people. You know, it's just like, dude, like, you don't have any time to like sit with those emotions as much as we did back in the day, and I think that's why. I think that's why there's a heavy call in a lot of people's psyche to the 90s and 80s. I mean, some people they go even further back, but you know, because back then it's like we still had entertainment, but it was probably a way better balance than it is now. You know, you're not like consumed by what you want to choose all the time. Sometimes you got to go to work and you got to deal with the people there, and you're not going to always be Mr. Hot Guy, hot fly shit all the time. Sometimes someone's going to piss you off. Sometimes, you know, you're going to get a little goofy. You're going to get a little lighthearted, and you know you got to find the balance to bring you back to yourself where you're comfortable. But then also it's like it's ebb and flow, and now it's you know a lot of people they don't sit with that type of stuff. That's why I don't really like a lot of new anime. It's really hard for me to get into a new anime because we're just so oversaturated with a bunch of shit. And I don't think the thing is that a lot of these animes are bad and all that stuff, or these TV shows suck, but we're so constantly oversaturated, and brings me back to the last point, that we're just, okay, on to the next one, on to the other thing. We don't have enough time to like sit with what we just watched, what we just saw, the emotions that we took in, you know, it's not the same. I've even been thinking too, like, you know, my progress at work has been slowing down, and a lot of the reason why is because the phone. A lot of the time I lose because I do housekeeping, right? I used to bartend, I used to be a bouncer, I used to be, you know, thought jobs that I felt like were cool and all that stuff, but to me right now in my life, structure, and hopefully all my whole life, structure. I had to go through a lot of shit to really realize. If you see one of my last videos, I've made two parts about it. It was my Los Angeles story, and that really just put in perspective how important it is to have structure and a financial base. Is incredibly important. Having a place you can go home to, you know what I mean, without having to think about it in the back of your mind, because it'll pop up. But one of the things that really gets me, when I'm at work, and this happened with my other job, they ended up turning off the Wi-Fi. And once the Wi-Fi was turned off, my efficiency rate went up through the roof because I wasn't able to scroll, and the only thing I had was the music that was already on my phone. And that's the thing too. That's where it's just like I like listening to music when I'm at work, but it's hard when you're there and you could just turn on the Wi-Fi and bust that out, and then you could get caught up in the scrolling, and then I lose time. I lose time when I'm supposed to be done with these rooms this long, and then I get like kind of like retarded. I get a little like yeah, man, like I get a little like retarded a little bit, and not in the good way, like Elisha Long talks about, like retard maxing, where it's basically being true to your convictions. That would be retarded, but like I mean retarded in the sense of like you're just lethargic, and then I get lethargic, and then I'm moving really slow, and it's like your mental capacity and your mental strength is like lowered. So I might, I've really been considering buying like an MP3 player so I can have music on deck, but I can't check my phone or anything because I know once I get back home I can check my phone and do all that type of shit. But it really takes away from my efficiency. So I might have to be in the discomfort of not having it, but even when I don't have it, at least my efficiency is up because I have nothing to make me like really lethargic. So it's easier for me to just be like, okay, I gotta do what I gotta do, and what's in front of me is what's in front of me. You don't always need somebody to tell you what you should be doing with your life. You don't always need to watch some life coaching shit. You don't always need to watch some working out videos and get inspired constantly. You gotta kind of just deal with what's in front of you at that moment in time. And I noticed that about myself. I'm like, okay, this is clearly at my own detriment at this point because I want to keep my job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good at my job, but I'm not good at my job if I'm getting lethargic and I'm getting fucking, I'm active. I'm probably the most fit person at my job. So I should be busting out the rooms faster than everybody else. Then obviously, you want to take your time a little bit to get the hours, but now they're getting a little harder on everybody um, about the timing and all that stuff because we would just kind of take our time so that way we can get a full 9 hours. Housekeeping's a little different because with housekeeping, when you're done with your rooms, then you're done. You can go home. So you're supposed to be working 9 to 5, but you might get out at 4 or 3 o'clock or even 2 o'clock, and still making good, decent money, but still a good job to be able to pay your rent and all that stuff, depending on how much your rent is. But yeah, it's like the fucking phone, dude. So tomorrow I got work and I know I should just leave my phone behind, and I will. I think I'm just gonna leave it behind and deal with that uncomfortability of not being able to feel like a badass listening to anime music all the time, being in this zone, man. Because I think it actually has more detrimental effect on me than not. If I just had an MP3 player, that's cool. I can't get this. I'm not gonna scroll on an MP3 player. I'm not gonna start looking at Instagram. I'm not gonna start watching YouTube videos and like sit in a chair for like fucking 20 minutes after I had a smoke. I'll just deal with what I feel and then I just get to it, and that's it. But like with that, it's just like then I'm taking a shit for like fucking 30 minutes or something like that. You got to deal with what's going on here, what's happening in front of your fucking face. And I'm really talking to myself, but for anybody else that can relate, that's one of the things I've noticed is just like the lethargical feeling. And at this point, I really want to go inside because it's fucking cold. I have no interest in going out. I honestly just want to chill out and jerk off. I haven't jerked off. You got those people with semen retention. I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, if you get so wrapped up into it, it's like, what do you put in your psyche all the time? But it's just like, I kind of just want to relax and jerk off, play some video games. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck it. Get a little dirty. Shove something in my butt. Yo, you better not tell anybody I said that. You better not tell anyone I said that. But for real though, like, yeah, man. And living life is, life. I think the more we can stop ourselves from doing those things, that make us really lethargic and shit like that. The phone, man, the phone, the fucking phone, brother. I think there's a time and a place. Like, I even have an app blocker, and I haven't really been using it. I know ways to kind of bypass it, but I'm like, when I sit with myself and talk to myself, I'm like, bro, man, just fucking. You don't even need to watch YouTube on your phone all the time. Like, set a time. Like the app blocker, you can set a time to when you can use YouTube. And I have my TV and PS4. If I like, it's healthier to watch YouTube on your TV than it is on your phone when you could do it at any moment at any time. Not good. Sometimes less is fucking more, brother. Sorry, I didn't mean to make this into a fucking rant. But, this is my channel. This is what I talk about sometimes. And I'll be having more chiller videos, but it is winter time, and maybe it's the time to reflect or whatever the fuck. But at that point, fuck, man. I'm going to put this shit out. I'm going to get my ass inside, and I'm going to fucking chill, brother. I hope you guys have a good night. Subscribe if you can. And, my content's going to be, like, here and there, like, everywhere, So I'll have more cooler videos. I want to put up some workout videos. I keep saying that. And, yeah, not to take shit seriously, but not so seriously. You don't have to hide yourself from the world. I find that I made an Instagram post, and after I made the post, I was like, this actually motivates me to do more. But then also, I didn't like all the attention I was getting. I was getting like a lot of attention more than I usually would. Everybody's like, I'm really proud of you. And I'm like, I don't care that you're proud of me. I'm doing this for me. But that's my balance point. You know what I mean? I don't want to get too excited off the emotions that other people feel for me. But also at the same time, it's like a good balance. But anyways, let me make a thumbnail real quick. Take off this hat, well, the hoodie, so I look, a little bit better. All right. They're like, whoa, man. Whoa, chill out, brother. No, you chill out. Anyways, you guys have a good night. Peace out. God bless.